On this day in history, we remember the remarkable individuals who shaped our world. Welcome to Who Died Today in History, where we honor their legacies. From artists to leaders, their impact lives on. If you find their stories meaningful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay connected.
Thank you to all our amazing channel members for your generous support.
Matthew Perry's death on October 28, 2023, was ruled an accident that exposed the fraught intersection of celebrity, recovery, and experimental medicine. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner determined the immediate cause as the acute effects of ketamine. Contributing factors included drowning in a heated jacuzzi, coronary artery disease, and therapeutic levels of buprenorphine used for opioid use disorder. The manner of death was accidental. Perry's passing forced an uncomfortable national conversation. He was best known as Chandler Bing on Friends, yet his later life was defined by candor about addiction and recovery. He publicly battled substance dependence, wrote a memoir about it, and advocated for treatment access. His death highlighted both the promise and peril of emerging psychiatric treatments. Ketamine infusions were being explored for severe depression and PTSD, but the autopsy emphasized the dangers of potent anesthetic use outside tightly controlled medical settings. Immediate consequences were swift and far-reaching. Tributes poured in from colleagues and fans who mourned a comic whose wit masked real pain. The Friends cast publicly honored him, and the Matthew Perry Foundation was established to support addiction treatment efforts. Simultaneously, federal and local authorities launched criminal probes into how Perry obtained high doses of ketamine. In August 2024, the U.S. Attorney's Office announced indictments charging 5 people, including medical professionals and an aide, with distributing the drug that caused his death. Those prosecutions reframed the story from personal tragedy to a case about illegal drug distribution and medical misconduct. Did his death amplify his legend? In a way, yes. Perry became more than a comic talent. He became a cautionary emblem of a culture wrestling with mental health crises, the limits of celebrity medicine, and how the vulnerable can be exploited even while seeking help. Historically, his passing reflects late 20th and early 21st century tensions, destigmatizing addiction while confronting novel treatment risks and the commodification of care. Ultimately, Perry's life and death show how we memorialize complex figures through reruns, memoirs, foundations, and policy debates. We immortalize them not by erasing flaws, but by weighing their art against the lessons their struggles leave behind. Turning personal loss into collective urgency about compassion, regulation, and how we care for those who ask for help. Jerry Lee Lewis, the untamed killer of rock and roll, died of natural causes on October 28, 2022, at the age of 87. His death marked the end of an era that began with the birth of rock itself, a genre that mirrored America's post-war restlessness, rebellion, and raw energy. Lewis's passing was peaceful, but his life had been anything but. From the pounding piano keys of Great Balls of Fire to his notorious scandals, he embodied both the brilliance and chaos of fame in the mid-20th century. The circumstances of his death, quiet, at home in Mississippi, stood in striking contrast to the explosive way he had lived. In his youth, Lewis had been one of rock's first wild men, his fiery performances symbolizing the cultural clash between strict Southern conservatism and the new spirit of youthful freedom. Yet, as decades passed, he outlived nearly all of his contemporaries: Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, all gone long before him. That survival became symbolic in itself, a testament to both his endurance and the strange longevity of rebellion once thought fleeting. The immediate aftermath of his death brought an outpouring of tributes from across musical genres. Fans and musicians alike hailed him as a foundational architect of rock and roll. His death prompted a reevaluation of his legacy, one complicated by scandal, including his marriage to his 13-year-old cousin and a history of substance abuse. Yet for many, the focus shifted to his monumental influence, his fusion of gospel, country, and rhythm and blues that helped define the sound of American youth in the 1950s. Jerry Lee Lewis's death amplified his legend by closing a chapter that had remained open for too long, the last living spark of rock's most dangerous generation. His passing served as a reminder of how art and scandal often coexist within genius. In reflecting on Lewis, we see humanity's paradoxical relationship with mortality and power. We condemn our idols' excesses but crave the authenticity that made them larger than life. Through music, film, and remembrance, we continue to immortalize figures like Lewis not for their perfection, but for the way they burned through convention, reminding us that creation and chaos often spring from the same electric impulse. Prunella Scales, the beloved English actress best known for her sharp wit and impeccable comedic timing in Fawlty Towers and her dignified performances across film and stage, passed away peacefully at the age of 92. Her death marked the end of an era for British entertainment, a career spanning over 7 decades that bridged traditional theater and modern television. Scales had lived with Alzheimer's disease for several years, and her passing was attributed to natural causes related to age and declining health. Her long struggle with memory loss lent a poignant symbolism to her life's final chapter. An actress celebrated for her precision and intellect, slowly fading into the fog of forgetfulness. Her death reflected the challenges of an aging entertainment industry increasingly conscious of its legend's mortality. As Britain's cultural landscape evolved, Scales stood as a link between classical performance traditions and the modern sensibilities of post-war humor. Her portrayal of Sybil Fawlty, the sharp-tongued yet endearing wife in Fawlty Towers, became an archetype of British sitcom excellence, a character who embodied the controlled chaos and dry humor of her era. Her passing prompted a national outpouring of affection, not just for the character, but for the actress herself, who symbolized professionalism, grace, and an unshakable love for her craft. The immediate consequence of her death was a flood of tributes from actors, playwrights, and fans who grew up with her work. Many reflected on her remarkable partnership with her husband, actor Timothy West, whose devotion during her illness became a public testament to love and endurance. Their long-running documentary series, Great Canal Journeys, had already endeared them to new generations, transforming their personal story into a gentle meditation on aging, memory, and companionship. Prunella Scales' death amplified her legacy. As more than a performer, she became a symbol of resilience, intellect, and emotional authenticity. Her passing invites reflection on how art preserves what time erodes. Though Alzheimer's took her memories, her performances endure, capturing moments of humor and humanity that outlast decay. In commemorating her through reruns, tributes, and public remembrance, we affirm the power of storytelling to defy oblivion. Prunella Scales' life and death remind us that while memory may fade, the spirit of art remains an immortal echo in the collective consciousness. Porter Wagoner, one of country music's most recognizable figures, died on October 28, 2007, at the age of 80 from lung cancer. His passing was natural but deeply symbolic, marking the end of an era when rhinestone suits, heartfelt storytelling, and traditional country values defined American music. Wagoner had been a bridge between the honky-tonk roots of the 1950s and the polished, television-driven fame of the later decades, and his death felt like a curtain call for a more sincere, emotionally raw age of country music. Wagoner's decline came quickly after his diagnosis, but he faced it with a stoic dignity that mirrored the grit of his songs. Known for his iconic pompadour, sparkling nudie suits, and the melancholic poetry of hits like The Carroll County Accident and Green, Green Grass of Home, he spent his final months still performing, his last concert taking place only months before his death, alongside longtime admirer Marty Stewart. This commitment to the stage until the very end reflected the values of his generation: endurance, humility, and devotion to one's craft above all. The immediate aftermath of Wagoner's death saw Nashville unite in tribute. Artists across generations, from Dolly Parton, his one-time protege, to newer stars, recognized him as a foundational figure in shaping the genre's storytelling traditions. His passing reminded fans of how deeply country music was rooted in themes of loss, redemption, and human struggle. It also reignited appreciation for the television variety format he popularized with The Porter Wagoner Show, which brought country music into American living rooms and introduced audiences to new voices, including Parton herself. In death, Wagoner's legend was amplified. He became not just a singer, but a symbol of authenticity in a genre increasingly dominated by commercial polish. His image, the sequined suits, the solemn baritone, the quiet faith, came to represent a nostalgia for a simpler, more emotionally honest America. Reflecting on his passing invites a broader meditation on how we remember artists like Wagoner. His life and death reveal humanity's yearning to preserve sincerity in an ever-changing world. Through memorial performances, museum exhibits, and continued airplay, Porter Wagoner remains immortal, a shimmering reminder that even as styles evolve, the heart of country music still beats with stories of love, loss, and legacy. James MacArthur, best known for his role as Detective Danny "Dano" Williams on the original Hawaii Five-0, passed away on October 28, 2010, at the age of 72 from natural causes. His death, though peaceful, symbolized the fading of a golden generation of television icons, actors who embodied the moral clarity and earnest heroism that defined mid-20th century entertainment. MacArthur's passing marked not only the end of a personal legacy, but also a cultural shift away from the kind of straightforward storytelling that once dominated American television. Born into Hollywood royalty as the adopted son of actress Helen Hayes and playwright Charles MacArthur, James grew up surrounded by art, intellect, and creativity. His career began on the stage and quickly transitioned to film and television, where he gained fame for playing characters that reflected the optimism and integrity of post-war America. His most enduring contribution came through Hawaii Five-0, where his portrayal of Dano became iconic, so much so that the catchphrase "Book 'em Dano" remains one of television's most enduring lines. By the time of his death, MacArthur had retired from acting, choosing a quiet life away from the spotlight. Yet his passing was met with heartfelt tributes from both fans and colleagues, illustrating how deeply his work had resonated with audiences across generations. It also occurred at a time when Hawaii Five-0 had been revived with a modern cast, creating a poignant parallel between the old and new eras of television. His death thus symbolized the closing of one chapter and the beginning of another, bridging the nostalgia of classic network television with the sleek, fast-paced style of contemporary drama. MacArthur's legacy is one of steadfast professionalism and understated charm. Unlike many of his contemporaries, he avoided scandal and sensationalism, embodying the virtues of discipline and grace. His passing reminded audiences of an era when heroes were quietly noble rather than flamboyant, a reflection of mid-century America's desire for stability and moral certainty during times of rapid social change. In remembering James MacArthur, we see how art immortalizes integrity. His roles continue to echo through reruns, fan conventions, and the cultural lexicon of television history. His death, like his career, offers a gentle reminder of how storytelling preserves not just entertainment, but the values and virtues that define an era's soul. Arnold "Red" Auerbach, one of the most influential figures in basketball history, passed away on October 28, 2006, at the age of 89 from a heart attack. His death was a natural one, but its symbolic weight extended far beyond the physical, marking the end of an era defined by discipline, innovation, and the unapologetic pursuit of excellence. Auerbach's passing came at a time when the NBA had fully evolved into a global spectacle, a transformation he himself helped set in motion through his leadership, vision, and fierce competitive spirit. As the architect of the Boston Celtics dynasty, Auerbach built a legacy that shaped not just a franchise, but the very culture of professional basketball. Under his coaching from 1950 to 1966, the Celtics captured 9 NBA championships, including an unprecedented 8 in a row, a record that still stands. His death reminded the sports world of a time when basketball was less about celebrity and more about teamwork and discipline. His trademark cigar, lit only after a victory, became a symbol of confidence and mastery, representing the values of post-war America: hard work, strategy, and unrelenting self-belief. The immediate reaction to Auerbach's death was one of profound respect. The Boston Celtics and the NBA community held numerous tributes, and even rivals acknowledged the depth of his influence. His passing united generations of fans who recognized that much of what defined modern basketball, from fast breaks to player empowerment, had roots in his philosophy. His mentorship extended beyond the court, shaping players like Bill Russell and John Havlicek into leaders who carried his lessons forward. Auerbach's death also reignited conversations about his pioneering role in racial integration. He was among the first to draft an African-American player, Chuck Cooper, in 1950, field an all-black starting lineup, and hire the NBA's first black head coach, Bill Russell. In doing so, he challenged the prejudices of his time, using basketball as a platform for equality, a reflection of America's broader social struggles and gradual progress. In remembering Red Auerbach, we confront the timeless interplay between mortality and legacy. His influence endures through statues, documentaries, and the continued dominance of the Celtics brand. His death reminds us that greatness is not defined by longevity, but by impact, the ability to shape culture, inspire others, and leave a playbook for future generations to follow. Trevor Berbick's death on October 28, 2006, was as violent and shocking as his boxing career had been fierce. Once the heavyweight champion of the world, Berbick was found murdered in a church courtyard in his native Jamaica, his body bearing fatal head wounds inflicted by a blunt object. He was 52 years old. The brutal nature of his death, later revealed to have been carried out by his nephew during a family dispute, served as a grim reflection of the turbulence that had marked Berbick's life both inside and outside the ring. In life, Berbick symbolized a transitional era in boxing. He was the last man to fight and defeat Muhammad Ali, claiming a decision victory in 1981, and 5 years later, he became the man who lost the heavyweight title to a young Mike Tyson, who then became the youngest heavyweight champion in history. This placed Berbick squarely between two defining eras, the twilight of boxing's golden age and the dawn of its modern spectacle. His death, occurring far from the glitz of the arenas that once celebrated him, underscored the instability that often follows fame, especially in sports where identity and power are so tightly bound to physical dominance. The immediate reaction to his death was one of sorrow and disbelief. The sports world mourned not only the loss of a champion, but also the tragic end of a man whose life seemed haunted by misfortune. Berbick's later years were troubled by legal issues and exile. He struggled to reconcile his past glory with his personal demons. His murder, rooted in family conflict and rage, mirrored the violence he once wielded in the ring, yet stripped of purpose or honor. It became a symbol of the human cost of fractured lives and unhealed wounds. In reflecting on Berbick's legacy, his death reveals much about humanity's uneasy relationship with mortality and fame. His story reminds us that power, no matter how great, is fleeting, and that the same hands that once shaped history can fall victim to its cruel reversals. Through documentaries, retrospectives, and the memory of his bouts with legends like Ali and Tyson, Berbick endures as a tragic emblem of both triumph and downfall, immortalized not just for his victories, but for the haunting cautionary tale his life became. Morey Amsterdam, remembered as one of television's earliest comedic pioneers, passed away from a heart attack on October 28, 1996, at the age of 87. His death was peaceful and natural, marking the quiet close of a career that had spanned more than 6 decades. Amsterdam, best known for his role as the quick-witted comedy writer Buddy Sorrell on The Dick Van Dyke Show, had spent his life shaping the humor that defined mid-20th century American entertainment. His passing symbolized the fading of an era, the end of the vaudeville-born joke-driven comedy that laid the groundwork for television's golden age. Amsterdam's career reflected the optimism and rapid evolution of post-war America. He began as a cellist in nightclubs before finding his true calling in comedy. Known as the human joke machine, he claimed to have a gag for every situation, a talent that made him a beloved figure on radio, early television, and the stage. When he died, Hollywood and his peers mourned not just a performer, but a symbol of a time when humor was crafted through wordplay, timing, and warmth, rather than shock or cynicism. His death quietly marked the passing of a generation that had built the foundation for the comedic formats still dominant today, from sitcoms to sketch shows. The immediate consequence of Amsterdam's passing was a wave of tributes from colleagues and fans who credited him with shaping television comedy's sharp, character-driven humor. Co-stars like Dick Van Dyke and Rose Marie reflected on how his presence on set brought constant laughter and energy, emphasizing how much of the Dick Van Dyke Show's charm depended on his natural rhythm and wit. In many ways, his death underscored the shift in American comedy from the clean, fast-talking humor of the 1950s and 60s to the more self-aware, irony-laden style of the modern era. In death, Morey Amsterdam's legacy continues through reruns, retrospectives, and the countless comedians who borrowed from his blueprint. His life and passing remind us of the timeless power of laughter, the way humor bridges generations and preserves memory. Through art, television, and collective nostalgia, figures like Amsterdam remain immortal, their jokes still echoing across decades, proof that laughter itself is one of humanity's most enduring forms of remembrance. Abigail Adams, one of the most influential women of early American history, died of typhoid fever on October 28, 1818, at the age of 73 in Quincy, Massachusetts. Her death marked the end of a life defined by intellect, moral strength, and unwavering patriotism. As the wife of John Adams, the second President of the United States, and the mother of John Quincy Adams VI, Abigail's influence extended far beyond the domestic sphere. She was a political thinker, advisor, and early advocate for women's education and rights, a visionary whose ideas helped shape the moral fabric of a young republic. Her death, though natural, reflected the vulnerabilities of her era. Medical knowledge in the early 19th century was still limited, and diseases like typhoid claimed lives across all social classes. Yet Abigail faced her final illness with the same composure and intellect that had defined her life. She spent her last days surrounded by family at Peacefield, her home in Quincy, where she had written many of her now famous letters. In these letters, especially those exchanged with her husband, Abigail articulated ideals of equality, reason, and moral duty that would later come to symbolize early American values. The immediate aftermath of her death was one of deep mourning, not only for the Adams family, but for a nation that recognized her as one of its moral anchors. Her passing came at a time when the United States was still solidifying its identity, and her life stood as a reminder that the Republic's strength depended as much on the wisdom and virtue of its citizens as on its leaders. John Quincy Adams, her son, would later reflect on her guidance as instrumental in shaping his sense of duty and purpose, a legacy of character that rippled through generations. Abigail Adams's death amplified her legend, transforming her from a supportive figure behind great men into a historical icon in her own right. Today, she is immortalized through her correspondence, her inclusion in educational curricula, and public memorials that celebrate her intellect and humanity. Her passing invites reflection on how memory and ideals endure, how the power of words, love, and conviction can transcend mortality. In remembering Abigail Adams, we are reminded that true influence is not measured in power held, but in principles lived and passed on.